Hello and welcome to the Passion Driven Pioneers interview series. I'm your host, John Channon, and today I'm joined by Heidi Habben, who is the president of Crash Ensues. Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, John.
So, would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are, what you do, and the business that you're in? Because Crash Ensues is a unique name.
Okay, I would love to, and I will start with the name. And I definitely get that because I have board members who say, "Can we change the name?" And I'm like, "No, because we've had it for 35 years. People remember it. And in the old days, I can call it that since we've been around that long, people from coast to coast knew it in the advertising industry. So it's one you don't forget." Crash and Sue's opened June 4th of 1990. So we opened as 30-second storytellers working in the broadcast advertising industry. So a lot of the things that you saw on air for advertising back there, we did those. And through the years, we've gone through all the upheavals in the industry with everyone else, the actors strike in 2000, 9/11, the dot-com bust, you went through 2008 and 9. And through those years, our clients, because they trusted us and because things were changing from analog to digital, to high def, to everything that was going on, we've also changed with the industry. And now we're more like a hybrid agency. We do what a lot of agencies do. We handle accounts, we do the creative, as well as doing what we grew up doing the editing, animation, and effects as we work in advertising. So it's kind of fun. We love it.
So, you started out with Crash Ensues early on,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on, you had the opportunity to buy the company.
Yes.
What was that spark that said, hey, you know what? I've got an opportunity here. I want to buy this. Tell us a little bit about what that spark was and then kind of where you want to take this company.
So the spark really started even before we opened Crash and Sue's. And I
Oh,
always felt like it was kind of my company, and everything that went in place from the very first day when we opened it was stuff that I put in place, the databases, the procedures that we followed, everything that we did, the hiring, the firing, was things that really fell on my lap. So the rest of the company, Crash and Sue's, has always been a DBA, doing business as, and it was City Post Inc. So everybody else was at City Post, and then Crash, Sue, and I were the first three. And so Sue always got called Heidi, and I got called Sue, and vice versa. But we were the first three employees over there, and we made it up to 36 at our grand total. And then as high def and AI came in, we've shrunk, not doing less work really, but technology has gone so far that we don't need the same number of people. We don't have assistants. We don't have a lot of the same staff because AI can do it, or other forms of technology can do it. So we have maintained our very creative core.
so having worked in the business and then had the opportunity now to own the business, do you feel that you were pretty well prepared to take on the ownership role?
Yes and no.
Okay,
And
good.
I will say yes because I thought I was. And I knew everything about it. So it was no big deal in many ways. I think it was a big deal in my head, and I didn't know it. So you take on that, and all of a sudden it's all yours, and you're bopping around, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it's all mine. And you question things you've never questioned before. You start to wonder, it's like, am I smart enough for this? And I had to go through a period of adjustment where I literally said, this is yours, you can do this, and just kind of get used to it. And again, it wasn't what I was doing. I don't know that any clients saw it. It was what was in my head, though. It was a different feeling.
Well, good. That's an interesting little story. So I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. So tell me, when you went from, being essentially an employee and then to being the owner, did your work-life balance change at all?
No, I had hoped in our industry that our industry would always get easier. But in the 90s, Mad Men, that was our industry. And that was how we ran. And we definitely started out doing dailies in the morning at 5 in the morning. And we would be doing strange things at midnight and just keep going. And so I thought the industry would get easier. And instead, with technology changing, it's just hard to catch up with and to evolve. So a lot of the people in our industry especially have had to evolve, I feel like, and I could be wrong. I know everybody in their own industry feels this way more than other industries have had to. We've had to really stay ahead of the curve and reinvent ourselves many, many times. So, yeah, that's probably where I'm at.
Oh man, that's great. So let's change the subject a little bit and look about, what are some of the things you guys are doing to remain innovative in your space or maybe adaptable to changes happening in your space?
I would say the thing that is happening with Crash and Suze is probably what's happening with a lot of people. It's AI. And especially in the advertising industry, it gives us a lot of new challenges, and it also gives us some advantages. If you're a small company and you're working in AI, it helps us to compete with the larger companies better in some ways. In other ways, it becomes more of a challenge, especially in advertising, is do we have the actual rights to this? How are those laws changing? Do they even have laws on this? Can you take something that you use with AI and just, build it into advertising? My answer is no right now. I'm waiting for those first lawsuits to happen. At the same time, doing research becomes really easy. We used to do top level research, and then if we wanted to really dig down deep, we'd hire a research firm. Now, well, first of all, I'll go back. I've always thought in advertising that 4 people could handle an account. And then if we wanted to do research, we would bring them in. But now we can literally take those 4 people and we can do a lot of research on our own. And we've always been able to get within maybe 7% without really heavy duty research. We can get closer to really nailing exactly what we want for audience, for deep down research as to what they're looking for, what's changing in trends. And so that really sets us up for success in many ways. So we can use it. We can use it to do voiceovers for rough cuts. There's many things, a lot of stuff in visual effects work. We use it a ton. It speeds everything up. Thus, I think I referred to before, or maybe it was before this when we were talking, that at the top, Crash and Suze had a lot more employees, and now we have less. Does that mean we're doing less work? Not exactly. It means that AI is doing a lot of the work for us. So we are having to learn AI and figure out where it fits in our industry, and then deal with the challenges that comes with it.
So some areas of support from an AI perspective with respect to research and uh, tasky type things, and then some areas of uncertainty would be the best
Mm-hmm.
way to say it. So good, good. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. So let me ask you my little magic wand question. So,
Okay.
so if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about your business, is there anything that you would want to change?
What I would change about our business since COVID, and maybe other businesses would agree with me on this, I am not sure, but I think so, is we have become less of a community in our business. And I say that to mean that many of our clients are out of town now. But even if I wanted to go visit them I would have to maybe travel to each one that I'm working with to 3 different cities, because the creative director is in one place, the head of marketing is in another place, the CEO is in another town. And doing everything online, everything that changed after COVID has made it a lot harder to be in relationship with our clients. And Crash and Suze grew up as a very relationship oriented business. And we get referral business. People love working with us. They get done. I don't have anybody that ever says, I hated working with them. It wasn't good. Our name gets passed on. But when we're just doing the jobs, we don't get to build those relationships. That leads to my next thing is, I think in the last year and a half, and I've heard this from others, that I would call it ghosting or invisible influencers. I think some of this comes from investment firms that have bought firms, but I'm talking to the same people I used to talk to. I'm hearing the same words, but I'm having some different outcomes. Either they will go away and I won't hear them until they absolutely need me. Maybe they're overworked and they're taking on 2 or 3 people's jobs. maybe that's the reason, but they don't get back to me until they absolutely need me. We might have these great discussions. They might say, hey, I'm going to sign tomorrow, and then they just go away.
Mm,
Not always forever, but it's sort of a ghosting. And what I'm hearing from other people in our industry and in other industries out there, that there are invisible influencers that have never been there before that are not even on the calls. And so you're trying to figure out who are those invisible influencers and how do I reach them? Can
yeah,
you?
that's an interesting challenge because it's maybe a little bit of who or what are those invisible influencers, right?
Right. And I like selling to the person. I like having that community and that relationship.
Yeah, and that's probably why you guys were had this business going in the first place, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what you really liked about it and appreciated about it.
Yes.
Cool. So, looking forward,
Mhm.
could you offer us a glimpse into the future plans and goals that you have for your business?
Well, in 5 years out, what I would love Crash and Sue's to be is I would like to build it up. I would like to say that we have maintained through the years. And like I said, we've actually gotten smaller doing the same amount of work. I would love to be able to bring more people back into the office again and build it up. Right now, we have people working. It's very open, and we were open even before COVID, where people could come in early or stay late as long as they were at the production meetings and the Friday team meetings. They could set their schedule a little bit. But what we have realized is we are much better when we are in the office. And as I build up the team, I think what I want to do is set ourselves apart, even from AI, because I feel like AI aggregates and eats data. And then what comes out is sort of lukewarm. And you look at all the social media and the work that's being put up there, it has a lot of AI look to it. You can do a lot of stuff in AI, and one person can do it and they can ask AI to do it. I would love to be able to set ourselves apart and do some outstanding work that really isn't in the middle, that pushes the boundaries and is a little, I don't want to say risky, but is out there for our clients so that they can be seen and noticed, because everybody wants video, everybody needs visuals, but it's becoming something that's just too much for everybody. So how do you get past that and get noticed? That's my goal for Crash and Sue's, is to be one of those companies that really is there for our clients and gets them noticed, and so that they can reach their clients and there's community in that.
That's great. So, knowing that this show is going to be kind of targeted towards people who might be in their first few years of business, do you have any final thoughts or words of advice you'd like to share with our audience today?
You know, when we have kids come in, we have a lot of tours of kids from different schools that come through. And I always tell them to, first of all, find out what their passion is and to find out what they're good at. And I think one is the heart and one is just your talents that move forward. And if you can figure those two things out, and if they fit in this industry, that you should go for it. I think there's a lot of people that join our industry in particular, and because they were able to play a video game or or do something along those lines, they think this is where I belong. But it's not, unless you're super creative and your passion is there. And if your passion is there, I say follow it, and I think you're going to be successful.
That's great. That's great words of advice there. So, thank you for that. So, listen, thank you so much for your time today, Heidi.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great meeting you, learning more about your business. And to everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.